that real quick. Oh, yeah, that's better, right? Not too much. Not too much. What's going on here? I can't see. What's going on here? Sabotage. Oh, I was not wiping off the lens. So the little LED light. Okay. I'll get that taken care of. Alright. I'm making this video right now because it's fresh on my mind. And while it's fresh on my mind, and I'm just spitting it off, all of these, it's really good material. And I think it's important that I record it, that I make a record of the knowledge that I've been given. That you see my phone doing that? That's because somebody be watching my phone. I don't know if it'll do that, but right now it's skipping. That's because somebody's too damn nosy and can't mind their own freaking business or move on or get the fuck out of my life. And I'm going to try to keep my language to a minimum because I've really been working on that, and it's a curse. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to curse nobody or nothing. Not always. But when I am trying to, it'll be very clear what I'm doing. You know, I'm not trying to trick nobody. I'm just going to tell you, look, I curse you. In the name of God, I curse you. You know what I mean? It's just like that. It may be a little more colorful than that, but I try to be as tasteful and respectful as I can, even when I'm telling a son of a bitch or some hoe, and I'm not pointing fingers at nobody. It's just, that's why I would have to do that to somebody, because they're being a hoe, right? Okay, so now that we agree on what a hoe is, okay, it has nothing to do with sexuality and none of that. A bitch ass hoe is somebody that's a punk, a liar, a fucking electrician, somebody who wants to wire shit up and make people unpleasant, unsettled, you know, broken. I mean, these are all things that are facilitated by wicked people, all right? And fact and, you know, case and point definition of, you know, like wickedness is somebody who does wicked things, okay? So if you're doing wicked things and, you know, you still feel like you're a good person, you know what? You're full of shit. If you're doing wicked things and you're facilitating destruction in people's lives, even your own, you're still wicked to a point. But when you're doing it to other people, and you know you're doing it because it's been brought to your attention several times by people who are not retarded, intelligent, they, you know, have studied this, they have spent years researching it, living it, finding the patterns, writing them down, memorizing them, and I mean, it's so repetitive that I could, with each girl that I took through this and tried to show them what they were doing, and it just so happened to be girls because that's who God chose for me to deal with. It's not because it's always women, trust me. It's just as much men. I have very strong narcissistic traits, but I keep them in check because they're useful. They're good for facilitating change in people. But you just got to have a good intention when you start. If you have a bad intention when you start, you will destroy people. If you have a good intention and you're trying to point them in the right direction, even if you make mistakes, even if you are wrong and it comes out your mouth and you get it wrong almost every time, as long as your intentions and your heart are in the right place, God will take it from there. And what you cannot do, He will do for you, and He will make sure that your work is not done in vain. Even if they don't get to the point where you would like them to be, He will let you know that you did your part. Okay? Most of all, because God is right here inside me, the spirit that makes me alive. This is God operating inside of me. That's what telling my body and everything else to move and the voice to come out of my mouth. Okay? That is God. What else could it be? Let's get that, you know, like, I know that seems radical to a lot of people, and this is like, well, that's Christ consciousness. Yeah, damn sure is. That's exactly what it is. And who told you that it was wrong? Who told you that that was antichrist, or that was, you know, heresy or blasphemy or whatever you want to call it? Who told you that? The Catholic Church? Do you even know how your Bible was made? Who chose what's going to be in it? Why it was printed the way it was printed? And who translated it? Who wrote it down? Who did the original copying? And what did they have staked in it? Do you ever think about these things? Okay, because that's like where you need to go first. Is like back to kindergarten, right? You're still on milk. You don't even know the truth yet. You know, the Jewish Tanakh is just supposed to be the Old Testament, right? But our Bible is 1/3 of their Bible, and we have a New Testament. which I think is very important, okay? The new covenant is everything. That's what we live by. That's what we're governed by. That is the ultimate law, and there is no superseding it. There is no changing it, no going around it, no begging for a reprieve of it. What he said is what he said, and that's what it'll be. Period. You cannot change it. Okay? That being said, there is no future set in stone. There is no future set in stone. Jesus came to change the world. If he didn't change the world, then it wouldn't have gotten any better, right? It would have just deteriorated from there and been done for, okay? We already know that they done destroyed the world. They done had to be destroyed once. Like, they can repopulate really fast. They like bunny rabbits. And all of this happened. I mean, they say that the population could have grown to a point very close to what it's at today, at least a couple times. Because major catastrophes like the flood, you know, that's a pretty good way to depopulize. You know what I mean? But God has that right. Not some jackass in, you know, some bank somewhere trying to figure out how he's going to keep enough food on the table, just resources wise, you know, like non-renewable resources and like crops. It's like you get so many people and only so many crops, and like you got to build somewhere to live, right? So that means a little bit less farmland to plant your shit on. Okay, so eventually it's going to be unsustainable. All right, that's a fact. If it keeps going the way it is, it's going to end. Period. Any way you look at it, it's done. There's nothing you can do about it except kill off humanity slowly. You know, they're trying that shit, but again, we're like bunny rabbits. We're just popping kids out left and right. Right? How many deadbeat dads you know? Are you a deadbeat dad? Huh. I tried not to be. I was forced to be a deadbeat dad, pretty much. I love my kids, and I get to see them whenever they want to come. But she did what she was planning for. She replaced me. She took me out of their lives, and I am no longer a part of their life. I am no longer a driving force. I am no longer an example or someone that they call or look to for answers. None of that. I am not their father. They don't have a father. They got some jackass that fucking don't know dip shit about my kids. He didn't raise them. He don't know them. He don't know what they need. He don't know their fears, their concerns, their likes, dislikes, their favorite colors, cartoon characters. He didn't spend all them years raising them and being a kid with them, but still having to go make all that money and do everything that Jenna wanted me to do to make her happy and make sure my kids had the nicest things. And all the while, I miss out on that. You know what I mean? Like, this is the kind of shit that I'm not okay with. And I don't care what anybody thinks. It's about time that I said something. I did the right thing and kept my mouth shut while it was all going down, but the kids are older now. They're not stupid. They know what happened. Everybody knows what happened. For God's sake, she left with the dude and went to be with him. Come on now. You don't just hop out of a marriage like that and, I think I'll just get a boyfriend. Because then it was 2 years before I could even get a girlfriend, before I even thought about having one. This is the kind of thing that God sent me to this earth to expose, to destroy, to abolish. Because I guarantee you one thing, it ain't going to the next life. Either it stays here, and the person leaves it behind, or the person could be destroyed with it. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's my mother. I don't care if it was Jesus Christ. If he can't get his shit together and keep that wickedness where it belongs, over there, okay? You don't have to be wicked. You can make mistakes. You can be mean. You can have wrong ideas. You can be imperfect and still not be wicked. There's no need for that, and it's a choice, 100% choice. I mean, chances are that, you know, the way God made us and the percent, you know, but they're all his characteristics. So I've learned that, like, what I'm really just getting mad at myself, right? Because if I am God, so is she. And if she's God, then we're all God, and we're all equally part of each other. And what hurts me hurts them, and what hurts them hurts me. So it's this cyclical, ass-kicking fuckfest, and nobody is doing anything about it or has any sense to even start to grasp what it means to be a collective. And there is no such thing as singular identity. I mean, yeah, I'm Ben Roberts, and this is the part that God is playing out through me. and he plays his part well, and I facilitate where I can. You know what I mean? Like, I try to be myself. I try to be crazy when it's time to be crazy. You know, like Solomon says, there's a time for everything. There is. But right now in my life, some people, and I'm not going to name any other names, but if y'all know who I'm talking about and what I'm speaking about, then keep your fucking mouth shut. It's none of your business. You understand? And you start running your mouth, I'll see to it that it don't ever happen again. I don't care who you're talking about. Whether you're right, wrong, indifferent, it's none of your damn business. Keep your mouth shut. Okay? I'm doing this for the good of other people, and so that these people can find healing, because they'll watch this and they'll have to listen to it. What are they going to do? Yell at the phone? Throw the phone? Okay, whatever. It's still there. You can't get rid of it. And eventually you're going to go back and watch it. Just like somebody when they write you a letter when they leave, you know, like, except for me. I don't read that shit. I got a couple lines through your letter that you left for me. I fucking threw that shit on. I ain't even picked it up again. It still sits right where I dropped it. And that's where it'll stay until I move and I throw it away. Because that's all the attention that it deserves. All the lies that you try to tell me throughout that whole thing are right there on that paper, and I have proof by your own fucking admission. Pardon my language, but it's just going to happen. So kids, I hope no kids watch this. Just strong language, strong content. They don't need to hear about this kind of thing yet. At least not in this type of mood. Alright, so I'm going to lay it out for you. And anybody that knows me, and I will let anybody, you can ask anybody that knows me if I'm an honest person, if I have integrity, if I do the right thing by people, if I do square business. All right, I dare you to find somebody that wants to call me a piece of shit, and even if they do, I seriously doubt I even have to take that conversation any further. You know what time it is. All right, so now that we have the second fundamental basis laid, all right, we're going to talk about the third thing. The third thing that everybody needs to know is that I am absolutely qualified, not just by God, but by life situation, through personal experience, through sheer repetition of how many times I've had to deal with this narcissistic personality, and even in myself, okay? I had to master it. I had to beat it. I had to overcome it. You know what I mean? I got a shadow too. I got an ego. Everybody does. Okay? Some people's are just stronger than others. Some people's are way more empathetic. Some people's are way more narcissistic. You know what I mean? If you're up here and narcissist, you don't feel emotional empathy for anybody. You don't. Okay? I can turn a switch and turn my emotions off. I will no longer be emotionally invested in whatever activity I'm about to take part in. It's like going to war. I'm getting ready to kill and not feel bad about it because I don't want to feel bad about it. I'm doing what I have to do, and that's just what it is. And I can be pushed to that point where I just, if I shut up and I'm not saying nothing and I'm super calm and I don't even look, you know, because you could tell when I'm upset, I'm going to let you know, because that's what you're supposed to do as a responsible adult, is to be assertive, set boundaries, don't let people walk on you, which is what I did for a long time. After Jenna, I was just destroyed. I was nothing. I was garbage, and I let people walk all over me because I thought, well, maybe they'll feel better about it, you know what I mean? And I'll go through hell for them. You know, I can be a punching bag, and I was. I tell people that, like, man, you need a punching bag? You need to beat me up? You need to slap me or yell at me? Or, you know, I mean, like, I can take that shit for you. I will do that for you. And it throws people off. But, you know, I was serious. I was serious because at that point in my life, that's pretty much all I felt like I was good for. And that was a blessing, just to have the interaction or, you know, human contact. You know, after being thrown away like that and convinced, and your entire circle of family and friends is convinced and turned against you, and you have nobody left in the world but you and your ego that's telling you, you know, she's right. She right. She might be right. You really are a wife-beating, drug addict, loser piece of shit, Ben. That's what you are. And it started way before. I can think back now with a clearer mind, and everything that I've done to work on this and study and have remembrance of, so that I can find healing, right? Because it had to come out of me at some point so that I could heal. God's not going to let me down. Do you think I wouldn't remember? I'm going to remember everything, all the bullshit at some point. Like, I'm going to call Miriam out too. I'm going to call Brianna out on her shit. I will. When I remember and the time comes, I'm going to do it tastefully, tactfully, and, like right to the point. Not trying to rub nobody in the dirt, just exposing the darkness and the bullshit for what it was and what it still is. Okay? Because they're still telling these same lies to somebody else. I promise. What they do works. They find a system, they find a pattern, and it works. Okay? So that's the third basis. So, I am qualified. I am called. I am experienced in ways that I wish I had never experienced. Okay? To a degree that only, I hate to use it, but somebody that is mentally challenged would have to do that many times to get the lesson. Like, when are you going to learn to walk away, Ben? When are you going to decide that you're better than that you're worth more? I'm God and I made you, and I know you're worth more than that. Why are you letting people treat you like that? I don't know, God. I treat myself that way. I freaking hate myself, and I want to die, and you know this. I've tried several times, and you've stopped it. And I mean, putting ammonia, straight ammonia, in a needle, in my arm, 80 units. I should be dead. Like that. It should have fried my whole circulatory system. Like, my veins should be trash, garbage, burnt. I took a whole pill of my grandpa's. He was already passed away, but he had a defibrillator, and I don't know exactly what the pills did, but they were something that he had to take every day to keep his heart in a proper rhythm. So for a person that doesn't have this issue, it will make your heart beat out of rhythm to where you'll get heart failure. I mean, that's at least the way I planned it and read it, and because I was trying to die. I wanted to die, and I don't half-ass things. So I was using for sure methods. Okay? For sure methods, right? So I thought. So, 4 times I tried this. The last 2 times were just massive overdoses on drugs. IV injection, 4 rigs right in a row, loaded, 80 units each with cocaine. And I mean like jelly thick. One right after the other. I should be dead. I should be dead. I try to do the same thing with speed and heroin in the same day to try and do enough of both, because I heard if you do both of them at the same time, it'll really kill you. That's really when it'll mess you up. There's no hope coming back from that. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try. But, if I see you tomorrow, I'm going to kick your ass. Cause no, I'm just kidding. I didn't say that. I didn't ask nobody about it either. When you really want to die, you don't tell nobody. You just die. So maybe I did die. Who knows? I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I'm still talking. Except I'm stronger and I'm wiser. Got a lot more scars. But, instead of just leaving a trail of shit and piss, dragged into the floor because my tail's tucked and dragging on the ground too. And I'm all crouched down and just trying to make it, dragging my shit around with me everywhere. That ain't no way to live. And that ain't no way to treat people either. It's equally as wrong on both parts to let it get to that. How does it go from 2 people loving each other to 2 people absolutely hating each other and wanting them to die? And I know one thing for sure. I never felt that way about Jenna until later on, much later on, when I started learning the truth. And I went through a time where I absolutely wanted her to die. When she very first took off with RJ, she could have died. And if it wasn't for my kids, she probably wouldn't be alive. What would my kids think? Even if I didn't do it. Even if I didn't pay somebody to knock her out, knock her off, bring my kids back to me and kill RJ, just to get rid of them both. Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care. The boys is what everybody was concerned about. Ain't nobody concerned about Jenna and her lying ass. Nobody's stupid. They just put up with her bullshit because it's easier to do that. You know what I mean? And I pray to God she's not like that. I ain't seen her in years. I mean, I absolutely doubt that nothing has changed. You know, like, she's probably just the same. She ain't dealt with nothing. If I try to bring up any, you know, like, well, Jenna, you know, you were cheating on me for 2 years, and you were calling me a cheater that whole time, and you're the adulterer, not me. I did cheat a few times, but I never had an affair. I should have cheated on you more. I don't care what anybody thinks about that. I should have. I would have at least gotten some sort of satisfaction sexually. Yeah, because she was too busy giving it to everybody else. You know, being a freak out, doing whatever she was doing. And when I get to the bottom of that, Jenna, you can bet I'm going to drop that on the world too. And it ain't nothing. It ain't nothing. And it involves everybody. That much I know for sure. I got that proof in my head. You can't take that away. Can't have nobody hack my phone and do that shit. By the way, I got me a hacker now. Surprise! A real hacker. A whole team of them. Yeah, they took up my cause. And there ain't nothing you could do. Ain't nothing nobody can do. These dudes are badass. And you can't touch them. You can't touch them. Nobody can. We don't know how. How? Do you know how? Mac, you ain't even that smart. You can't take a team of them. You might be able to piss them off. But ultimately, you're going to cause hell for yourself. Because it's a lifetime protection thing. They'll protect my number forever, and I'm going to find out. And you probably won't be on there, Jenna. But somebody's numbers will. Who knows who I might find. But they're going to dig it out. They're going to give me names, addresses, IP addresses, phone numbers. I mean, anything that can be or was connected to that phone number is now my privileged information. So, now that I'm holding the cards, I've gone through everybody's horse shit, lived through it, come out the other side a better person for it, even though I seem a little upset right now because I got every right to be. And damn you if you don't think so. You're an idiot too then. You might as well go jump on their bandwagon and be a fool right along with them. Now I mean that. From the bottom of my heart, that's God's honest truth. I wouldn't be sitting here telling you if it wasn't. So, who knows where this video will go. Hopefully only the people that need to see it. But that's always been my style, huh? I ain't afraid to air it out. You know why? Because I ain't no punk ass bitch. That's why. I wasn't trying to hurt nobody. I wasn't trying to lie. I was just trying to make it. That's it. Just trying to make it. And if I wasn't happy in my marriage, it wasn't just my fault. I'll own up to it. I wasn't a man like I could have been. I sure as hell didn't know enough about God or spirituality or religion or any of the things that would have set me on a path of higher knowing. Right? Like, because everything I was taught was bullshit. Nobody taught me how to deal with anything. I grew up learning how to stuff it down into my soul and let that shit fester. I didn't want to live that way, man. I got great parents, but I see them now. They're not happy. They never found their true happiness, their joy, their fulfillment. Just going to your grave knowing, you know what? I did it. I made it. I figured it out. I did what I was designed to do, and I can die peacefully because I know I did it. No regrets. That's a good way to go right there. And you know what? I got no regrets. None. Actually, that's not true. I do have one, but it has nothing to do with Jenna or nothing else. That's something that God told me to do, and I chickened out. I made a fear-based decision, just like my mom did to me, what started all of this in my life. A fear-based decision. Think about that. Fear-based decision. It's 25 minutes. I'm going to stop it. No, I'm not. Screw it. I'll just keep talking. You know what I mean? You can watch it in pieces if you don't like it. This is important to me. It has to be done. And I can't get nobody to sit and listen because the truth hurts. It does. And when I start coming at people with the truth, and it's the truth, man, and I'm not going to speak it unless I've been led to believe by a divine source that it is God's truth, that it is the truth about the situation. Now, recently, I have been given revelation that just because it's not my truth doesn't mean it's not true for that person. However, that does not give a person the room to sit next to somebody and say, no, that's not what I did. What I really did is the opposite of what you're saying, because if I did what you were saying, that would make me wrong, and I would have to give you control over this situation and be accountable for my actions, and then I would have absolutely no power over you. Because what good does that do me, right? Because I need to feed off of your energy, your negative energy, your positive energy, all of your energy. I want you to expend it at, your own cost. It's going to cost you to feed me, and I'm not going to give nothing back to you because I'm greedy and I'm scared. I'm greedy and scared. So I'm going to hold on to what's mine, and to hell with you when it comes down to it. You start cramping my style, I don't care. 8, 10, 12 years of marriage don't mean shit to me. I'll ruin you. You know what she told me? She wanted me to die. She told me that to my face after the second time she put me in jail for no reason. I've seen what it looks like when a dude beats the shit out of his woman. Because this last girl that I was helping, that's what I saw when I got her. When I found her, she was bruised from head to toe like she'd been hit by a truck. And I know what that looks like, feels like, because I have been hit by a truck. I ran myself over in my own damn truck, right? That's how dumb I was before I was enlightened. I ran my own self over in my own truck. I know. This doesn't even make sense, does it? How does that happen? Why are you outside the truck while it's running? Right? Lots of questions raised there, but that's for another time. I'm just saying, that's how dumb you can be when you're not even awake. You're just like running around executing a program that's been installed into you, and you don't even know who put it there or why. Or that there's even a program. You think you're living. You think you're doing the best you can. You think you're pretty smart. You think you got something figured out. Say, you don't know shit, man. You don't know nothing. You know a whole bunch of lies that the world wants you to believe. Seriously, the majority, a large percentage, I'm going to say above 80% of the fundamental basics of what makes this world function have been turned inside out and upside down to look nothing like the truth. Because that's how they control you. If you don't know your past, you are doomed to repeat it. And what do they know about their past? That they get so freaking buck wild that God shuts everything down and has to kill everybody because there ain't nothing left but wickedness and violence and blood and murder, and that's it. There ain't nothing good left. All the good gets killed because we let people run us over, you know what I mean? We're trying not to hate people. We're trying not to kill people. We're trying not to facilitate wickedness. We're trying to do something different. So the only way that we can be an example a lot of times is be the martyr. And it's a strong witness. People recognize when you die for something. When you die for what you believe in. That's a man that had integrity. That's a woman that believed in something and stood for it and did not waver no matter what. That is truth. And if you can't say that about whatever your truth is, get the fuck out my face. For real. Don't even talk to me about it. Because you ain't got no room. You ain't got no right. You ain't got even the brain capacity yet to even function on the level that you need to be to even start understanding it. Okay? It's way too intricate for you to ever realize it, you fucking simpleton. Right? Listen to... I mean, come on. And I'm not trying to call a bunch of people stupid, except that you are stupid. Because you've been programmed to be that way, and you ain't had no desire to step out of the box and question things. Why would you never question who God is? Where he came from? Who wrote the Bible? How did they put it together? How come there's 66 books from a spread of 1,600 different, years with like 60 different authors or something like that? A whole bunch of sixes. The number of man. Do you think God divinely inspired a bunch of things with man's signature all over it? I don't think so, because if you go back to the Torah and you look in the Jewish Tanakh, which is the original, untampered with, unbullshitted Catholic version of what Christianity is, right? Because the Jews got it right, man. They know how to serve God. They know how to keep his commandments. They know how to do everything he asked us to do except believe in Jesus. Do you see how it was divided right there? They kept the best things from the even better things, to where we're incomplete and we only have part of the truth and a bunch of misleading, like they used the truth to mislead you to believe that God is something that he is not, and that the devil is something that he is not. Do some research, people. Blind faith is not what God called us to do, believe, or function in a blind faith. He was very present, made himself very known. In fact, he's famous for it. Came and he split the Red Sea, and he did all those miracles, and he made sure that everybody knew who he was. Everybody knew that there was a God with an unspeakable name, because I'm not even worthy to let it utter off my tongue, because that's how great he is. That's how powerful he is. And if you don't like that and you want to try to cross him, he will kill you. That's why you should fear God. It's not a reverent freaking respect. It's a, I'm scared that if I don't do what my God says, he's going to freaking kill me, because that's not how he does things. And if you are wicked, you want to go against his ways, it's death. He laid it out right there from the very beginning. The wages of sin is death. Period. There is no gray area, people. Quit saying that shit. You're stupid. No gray area. What he said is what he said. Okay? Now you just got to discern what he said. What was said by a man? What was changed to sound better for a king? Because if I write that down and translate it, he might chop my head off. That's the kind of people that he was translating this Bible for. This Bible that you say is infallible, and, you know, yes, God's truth is, you can't find the ending of it. You can't measure the depth. You cannot grasp truth the way that he shows you and the way he wants you to see it, unless you realize who the hell you are. Do you even know? You're going to spit off some name, you know, some surname and some, you know, name that your mother gave you, like Robert Roberts. Come on, man. I knew right from the start that there was an issue with my folks. Robert Roberts? Are you kidding me? I would have rather been named Sue. I could have just said I was Indian. You know, like, I'm Sioux Indian. I'd spell it even that way. S-U-I-X. I'm Sue. You know? And screw you if you don't like it. That's better than Robert.